Hello everyone and welcome back to Mindful Moment Crochet. Today we are going to be talking about this lovely, I'll call it yarn, but it's very much a rope-like texture and it is literally huge. This stuff is from Lion Brand and when it says size 7 jumbo, it means size 7 jumbo. So if you convert the ounces over to pounds, this is 5 pounds for one skein of this yarn. So I made my own weighted blanket. This sweet girl is 10 pounds of love and she will take you about 2 hours to make. And you use your hands. You're gonna hand crochet a blanket like this. You could hand knit, but it takes some arm strength to get through those 2 hours. But this has been such a fun project to make. Not really enough room to show you how I did it with this yarn, but I do want to show you kind of how you hand crochet if you're interested in making this. Now, this yarn is quite pricey on their website, so I got mine on sale. So if you are interested in making this, just make sure to keep an eye out and see what's available, because you might find it much cheaper than full price. But this has been super fun. On the inside, it is essentially just pure cotton. You can see as I pull it apart, you can see it's just white on the inside. On the outside, it's almost like a sock texture. So it makes it pretty soft. And for someone who likes to fidget, there's a lot of texture to this blanket and a lot of ways to really dig your fingers in. So if you're looking for a make your own weighted blanket, if you want to make a blanket in the afternoon, this is a great project to use it for. This has been just a really fun way to crochet for my afternoon. So let me move this one out of our way. Stash that for just a little bit. And up next we have the Bernat. This is just regular blanket yarn, so nothing super special here. And really the brand doesn't matter. I just wanted to kind of show you what this looks like. I believe this is a size 6, so considerably different in size from the other yarn. But I'll show you kind of what it looks like to hand crochet a project. So same thing, we're going to start off with our slip knot. And then you want to kind of use your fingers, or for the bigger yarn, you want to use your hands to create somewhat of a regular tension as you go through. So to chain, we just chain. We're going to use our fingers to kind of loop things together. And I have to admit, this is quite a relaxing process if you're interested, especially with such a big yarn like the YOOGE yarn. And for that yarn, you only need about 12 stitches across to make that blanket, and that blanket ended up being probably 3 feet by about 5.5 feet long. So it doesn't fit my entire body. It's definitely not something you're probably going to snuggle up with, unless you want to get a 3rd skein of that yarn. But it is kind of fun to make and to have all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in making your own weighted blanket, I think it's a cool project to go with. So once we have our chain, we're going to pretend like this is on our hook. And we're going to go back in. So we have the chain on our hook, we have the chain next to it, and this will be our turning chain. So we're going to go into this chain, which is going to be this V right here. And you can just scoot the yarn through it, hold it on your finger or on your hand if you have the even bigger yarn, and then pull that string, pull that yarn up and through. And now that one is on your hook, on your hook finger. Same thing, we're going to find our next chain here. And you can pull up a loop, stick it on your finger or hand, grab the yarn and pull through 2, just like you would a regular crochet stitch. So we're going to pull up a loop through our next chain, stick it on our finger, and pull the yarn through both. Again, we're going to find our next chain here. Go up and under, stick it on our finger, and pull through both. And as you can see, we're just making a row. This is obviously quite loose for this yarn. I think the stitch definition is actually quite nice in that other yarn, even though it is very large. And then again, we'll find our next chain. This is a little floppy since it's the wrong size for this particular yarn. And then again, you can reach through and pull up a loop. And go to our next chain here. And put the yarn up and under. Put it on our finger. Oh, and this actually looks like my last chain. And then I'll pull through. And that's how you kind of go back and forth. Now, obviously this is loose for this yarn, but you can see the same principles apply here. On top, you still have your V stitches. And so we're just going to go back the other way. So we're going to chain 1, just like we did at the beginning, by pulling up another loop through our finishing stitch loop, and turn our work. And then we're going to go back the opposite direction. Pull up a loop and pull through 2. And find your next V here on top. Stick the yarn through and pull through 2. I will say that I think this is a very beginner-friendly way to introduce yourself to crochet, mainly because you start to see, again, this is a little big, but you start to see where the V's are. You can practice where you would put your hook. It lets you kind of get the rhythm of how to crochet without the pressure of trying to figure out wrapping the yarn around your hand for tension purposes. And what a cool way to make yourself a weighted blanket. If you are sensory seeking, if you like the pressure, or if you just like to fidget. I think it's such a cool way to incorporate a little bit of self-care into your crochet. Not that I think crochet can't be self-care on its own, but I think it's an extra labor of love to take care of yourself by making something nice and cozy. It's currently the middle of winter up here in North Carolina, and I think our low on Monday is projected to be 3 degrees, so I imagine it will be quite cold, and I think it's nice to have just an extra layer in terms of the weight to kind of put on the bed or just have it to snuggle up with. But it's also nice for this time of year if you're a seasonal depression type person or anything like that. I think it's a nice way to have something a little extra, or just a fun decor piece, either way. So getting the blanket back out, I will show you each row of this blanket is about this big, which probably can't really tell on camera, but it's about, I would say, 5 inches wide for each row. So it's pretty easy to work up quickly. Again, I think it's fun to just fidget with and touch. It's super squishy for the yarn with that cotton on the inside. You do actually, and it comes with your thread to be able to sew up the ends. And so when you get to the end of a skein, you can either kind of join them together, or just for, my sense of mind, I went ahead and just sewed up the end so the cotton wouldn't fall out over time. So it might be something you want to consider doing, but it's maybe not required on the end. I think it would probably stay, but I just wanted mine to kind of have a cleaner finish and not have a big white opening just kind of flapping around in my blanket to take away from the very nice gray color. They also have a beautiful blue. I think there's like 5 or 6 colors to choose from. But as you can tell by my nails, I kind of like the darker colors. But yeah, this was absolutely a fun project. I hope you try finger crochet. If you think you might be interested in a longer tutorial on how to do that, happy to do that as well. Just drop it in the comments below. And as always, like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.